down a long path. Helen and Colin met in the Adirondacks at a friend's country house. Helen drove down from Montreal. Colin lived nearby in a house he had designed and helped build. It was spring. The lilacs were in bloom. The lake was inviting. By the time geese were flying south and the trees had lost their leaves, Helen and Colin were the only people left on the lake. Down a long path lined with pines stood a cozy, comfortable cabin. Inside, facing the lake, were large windows welcoming the lake and mountains into the house. The living room, dining room, and small kitchen were one large room with a fireplace and a wood stove. Up 10 steps was a loft. It was a magical place. Helen drove down to visit Colin most weekends. She met Colin's friends. They explored the countryside. He drove her to see the houses he designed. Together they enjoyed all the seasons in this beautiful land. They skied, sailed, swam. They went canoeing. They watched with awe at the change of seasons. During the summer holidays, she met his family. Colin drove up to Montreal occasionally. He and Helen enjoyed theater, concerts, and friends. They explored her city. She delighted in sharing it with him. After a friendship of several years, Colin met and married a younger woman who lived in the country. They soon had 2 children. Helen and Colin kept in touch. They exchanged birthday and holiday greetings. They phoned each other. Colin called when his mother died, and several months later when his father died. In early autumn that year, Helen received an invitation to attend a memorial service. She had not visited the lake for several years. She accepted the invitation, aware that it would not be easy for her to go back. She slowly approached the cottage. Colin ran across the grass to greet her. They hugged and kissed. Afterwards, Colin led her to a quiet corner in the house and brought her a glass of wine. He shared the following. "Do you remember my friend Lou, who lives in New York?" "Yes," she said. 11 years ago, he and his wife adopted a 2-year-old Korean child. The child was traumatized when she arrived. She's now a self-confident teenager. Recently, I attended the girls' bar mitzvah. When I heard how the rabbi welcomed her in the Jewish faith, I cried, said Colin, watching Helen closely. "I think of you when I meet the Jewish person and hear Jewish issues discussed," he continued. "If I had any religion, I'd wanted to be Jewish." Helen made an effort to control her tears. I know you, Colin said. "I knew you'd cry." Suddenly the conversation was interrupted by Colin's sister, who invited them to join the guests for refreshments. With a feeling of joy and excruciating pain, Helen left the house soon after, tears blinding her. She walked slowly along the path from the house into the road. Early in July, Helen's friend, at whose house Helen and Colin had met, phoned to tell her that Colin was very ill. He had leukemia. Helen telephoned and left a message. Helen phoned back the next day and said he wished very much to see her. She had expected only to chat with Colin and was unprepared to be invited to visit him. Attempting to sound lighthearted, she asked, what should she bring? Love, he said. I have that, she replied. Yes, I know, he said. The next day, Helen once again walked down the path to the cottage. Colin lay in bed near the window overlooking the lake. He looked gray. He had no hair and seemed very drawn and weak. He indicated that she'd bring her chair close to him. He whispered that he had very little energy and much to tell her. After about a half an hour, she stood up to leave Colin, very tired. He whispered, I love you. She in tears replied, I love you too. Colin died the following morning.